Hey there, Vermont. Just wanted to give you a quick little update. We had a nice taping with Pat McDonald, Joe Kelly, JT Dodge, and I last night. It was a discussion basically about the decarbonization methods of Vermont presentation, and I'll give you a little intro. Joe Kelly, a firefighter, EMT, now waterworks, I believe, is something he is very involved in. Hey there, Gregory. How are you? We did the taping last night, February 23rd, 2019, from roughly around 6:15 or 6:30 p.m. to about 8:30 p.m. Joe brought in a great part of the discussion on how some of the decarbonization methods, how it would impact many of the municipalities across the state of Vermont, seeing how a lot of the police departments, fire departments, EMT, emergency services groups, and how this would impact their ability within all of our communities across the state of Vermont. Added a lot of good discussion in that area. JT Dodge, I wanted to thank him for coming all the way down from the Northeast Kingdom. Brought in, we got to discuss a lot of the cap and trade portions of the decarbonization methods of Vermont presentation. And it was just more of a breakdown. We dove into how these carbon or climate change credits, how they'll work between a new company versus, let's say, an older company in certain industries, how they'll trade these credits, how it will kind of create a commodity market along this with these tax credits. Great questions whether the municipalities are going to be tax exempt, whether the fire departments, police departments, the EMT services groups will not necessarily be paying these taxes, whether they'll be going to, say, like a town garage, fueling up their vehicles. Let's face it, many towns have bought some very expensive equipment, and it's certainly going to impact that portion of our community services, the emergency services groups. Good discussion. Pat brought up some great questions. We didn't get to cover everything within an hour, but we did. It was a very good discussion group. Covered some great topics. Got to go in deep on how the infrastructure presently is not here in the state of Vermont. How it's basically unsustainable with the present $500 million a year tax scheme that they plan to implement to meet the so-called timelines, the 75% goal by 2030, the 90-something% goal by 2050, and basically how the new pitch on the Green New Deal, the climate change apocalypse coming in 12 years. It was more of a down-to-earth, common sense breakdown, and we taped it last night. It should be airing within a week or so on the Vote for Vermont website, as well as their YouTube channel. It'll be, and I'm just going to flip this real quick just to show you. It'll be on all of these public access channels throughout the state of Vermont. So if you'd like to view that taping, the Onion River Community Access, Channel 15, the Windsor On Air, Channel 8, Middlebury Community Television, channels 15 and 16, Rutland Community Access, channels 15, 20, and 21, the Ludlow Community Television, channels 8, 10, 20, and 21, Mad River Valley Television, channels 44 and 45, the Lake Champlain Access Television, channels 15, 16, and 17, the Central Vermont Television, channels 192, 194, Springfield Area Public Access TV, channels 8 and 10, and the Kingdom Access Television, channels 192 and 194. You can go on their website right up here. You can learn more about the Vote for Vermont, or Vote 802, and their website right there, as well as the upcoming events. And I'll have some of this posted up here on the Green Mountain Republicans History of Vermont Politics website. And we covered a lot of topics. Just prior to our taping, the pro-life group was pretty much discussing the H-57 and the S-25 bills, how they had been pretty much voted through. The unrestricted, he seemed a little deflated, but they're still fighting the good fight out there. So we'll have to see. We already know that the opposition of that pro-life group is pretty much celebrating the fact that they won. I mean, it's a supermajority, and under Mitzi Johnson, we kind of knew that this would be the process. It is interesting to see how a much larger group of opposition, or a majority group across the state of Vermont, actually ends up in a losing column, and a small minority ends up with a big win to basically unrestricted, without safeties. And I mean, they say there's safeties in there, but when you read the bill, and I realize there's a lot of people that are very motivated, dealing with some of the comments, kind of uncompassionate, but what are you going to do? Got to give them props. The opposition is still out there. There's a vast majority of Vermonters that would like to see more safeties, more insurance, more in a higher percentage of success, and not necessarily having to deal with some of the very tough situations of when individuals have actually lost loved ones. I mean, any medical procedure, period, is a risk. You certainly want to make sure that there's a higher success rate without really bad side effects, injuries, etc. But we're going to stay pretty much on the discussion about the No Carbon Tax Vermont group. Another meeting at the State House, March 23rd, 2019, from 9 a.m. to noon. There are a lot more individuals that are wanting to become part of the presentations, which is outstanding, and we appreciate the great questions. We're certainly looking to present in any radio show, discuss more in depth on a TV broadcast. The public access is a great venue. Hey there, JT, and just speaking about you, JT, thanks for coming down again from the Northeast Kingdom. Had a great discussion, and I hope that more Vermonters get involved. We had, as I said, Joe Kelly. It was his first time coming in to the discussion group, but I thought that he offered some very informative. Hi there, Pat. We were just speaking about you, Pat McDonald. Had some very good in-depth discussion on the impacts of the decarbonization methods on our emergency services, the police departments, fire departments, EMT services. as well as JT discussing the cap and trade, the tax credits. Hi again, Pat. And I thought it was a really good, down-to-earth, common sense, just kind of diving into the details. And it seems more and more Vermonters are wanting to comprehend and break down these presentations. So please keep those good questions coming in. I want to thank Roger Bouchard up in Burlington. He's been leaving some outstanding comments, some great questions. Fred McCullough, Skylar Bailey. We're also key presenters. Desiree Marin couldn't make it last night. However, she's still very involved up in Colchester. We have, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody, and I know I probably will. But it was a really good discussion group. Got to sit down and just kind of really dive in. It's something that you should certainly watch. I hope you will watch. I hope you'll actually, it'll generate some more questions. As I was, saying, there's some more individuals across the 14 counties want to really dive into this. The legislature may have they may be saying that it's shelved, but we all know that this is just going to be, this will be a discussion going forward into the future. And I feel all voices should be heard. You should have an opportunity to clearly, fully be informed. It helps with the discussions. It certainly helps with a much more deeper, in-depth understanding of the material. And having read through that, well, or at least one of the full, I think it was 153 pages worth of the initiatives. The preface, the first page, these are assumptions, projections, and estimations. So this is something that we're certainly going to be talking about over the next the 12-year plan, or the 12-year climate change apocalypse, which I think we discussed last night. It's more of a fear-mongering tactic. Many of us are very concerned about Vermont's environment, how it's going to impact impact everyone in the state of Vermont economically. Where are some of these? The tax credit issue I thought was great last night, explaining how maybe an older company within the state of Vermont, these new companies trading these tax credits. Very good discussion about that last night. And I hope you watch on all those channels. I hope it generates more questions, and I hope there's more individuals in each one of the 14 counties that would like to at least have an in-depth discussion on how it could impact their industry, how it's going to impact the size of the companies, how these tax credits are going to work. And I mean, let's face it, the taxes for the end consumer are pretty high, pretty stiff. I think that discussion is very important, and I hope we do continue to. I know there's several other people that I know Sharon Quiche. Hopefully I enunciated her last name correctly. She's up in the St. Johnsbury area. I know I'm forgetting somebody, and I apologize. I probably should have a list and I could read it right down. But I just wanted to give everybody a quick little blurb about it. It should be airing in about a week or so, and the March 23rd, 2019 event coming at the State House, the No Carbon Tax group, or No Carbon Tax Vermont group. Should be a line of similar faces for speaking and presenting, and we have other individuals that are coming on board that are helping out in many other different ways. I want to thank Lynn Champy. She was feeling a little under the weather, but she still wanted to see the taping, and she's actually becoming fairly active on designing some new graphics for some of the presentations coming up. And I appreciated her womaning up, and she wasn't feeling so hot, but she still made the taping. And again, please stay tuned. Go to that website, the greenmountainrepublicans.org website. We'll be sharing this information. Please come and attend the No Carbon Tax Vermont Group's presentation on March 23rd, 2019, 9 a.m. to 12 or noon, Vermont State House. Look for JT Dodge, me, hopefully Skylar Bailey will make it, Fred McCullough, hopefully he'll make it. I'd like to see Desiree Marin there again if she can make it on the 23rd. We have, it's a growing group. So, again, go to those websites, take a look at the show, and generate the questions. We hopefully will help. We'll give you the links, let you dive in, absorb the information, and we can we'll see if this is going to be the future of Vermont, or if it's just another. I feel it's a little too aggressive with the present economic picture here in the state of Vermont, especially with many of the issues that were certainly discussed in this episode or this taping about the individuals that are really struggling with the affordability of the state of Vermont presently. And our voices, many voices across the state of Vermont, would like to have that addressed. So stay tuned. Go to those websites. I hope you enjoyed the taping. I know we had a nice, it was a nice, relaxed, in-depth discussion, and please keep those questions coming forward, and I hope to see more individuals across all 14 counties coming to one of the events, sharing the data, how it's going to impact their specific industry or their specific business model, whether it's a small business, mid-sized company, and even the full C Corps that are presently in the state of Vermont, and how the tax code, these climate change, carbon tax initiatives are going to impact the future of living in the state of Vermont, the affordability, and making a living in the state of Vermont. So please tune in, and I'll certainly let you know once that episode is airing and out on those websites, so that way you can view it, and we'd certainly like to hear some of your feedback. So have a great day and have a great weekend.